History of serif fonts and creative fonts. Introduction. Definition. Serif fonts are typographic fonts that have small lines or serifs at the ends of the letters. These elements help to direct the reader's eye, improving the readability of text. Research aim. To examine the history of serif fonts, their development and influence on modern design, and to explore creative fonts that break traditional rules and create unique visual styles. History of serif fonts. Origin. The first serif fonts originated in ancient Rome, where they were used to create inscriptions on stone. An example is the Trajan font, which is still used in various graphic works today. These fonts were originally created for engraving and had strict and clear shapes, which ensured their durability and legibility. Middle Ages. During this period, serif fonts began to develop, thanks to the spread of handwritten texts and printing. Gothic fonts such as Fraktur became popular in Europe, especially in Germany. These fonts were characterized by complex shapes and decorative elements that made them less readable, but very visually appealing. Renaissance. During the Renaissance, serif fonts began to develop more actively. Masters such as Aldus Manutius and Claude Garamond created fonts that combined readability and aesthetics. Creating fonts with softer and more rounded shapes, such as Garamond, helped make text more accessible to a wider audience. Transitional fonts. 18th century. Transitional typefaces appeared in the 18th century and became the basis for modern serif fonts. They combined features of old and new styles, creating more elegant and readable forms. Main characteristics: thinner and more elegant serifs, improved proportions and balance between vertical and horizontal lines. Baskerville fonts. Created by John Baskerville, this typeface became a symbol of transitional typefaces. It was characterized by clear lines and high contrast, which made it very readable. The harmony and beauty of the Baskerville typeface still inspires graphic designers today. The rationality and refinement of its form make Baskerville a great book typeface, full of dignity and traditional English thoroughness. Creative fonts are fonts that break traditional design rules and are often used to create a unique visual style. They may include non-standard shapes, unusual serifs, and decorative elements. Examples. Decorative fonts. For example, Comic Sans, which is often used in informal contexts despite criticism for its informal style. Other examples include Papyrus and Curls MT, which have pronounced decorative elements. Experimental fonts. Fonts based on calligraphy or graffiti are often used in street art and design. They may include elements that make the text more expressive and emotional. Combination of regular fonts and creative fonts. Principles of font combination. Contrast. Using fonts with different thicknesses, styles, and shapes creates visual interest. For example, you can combine a bold serif font with a thin sans serif font for headlines and body text. This helps to emphasize key points and improves readability. Font family. Use fonts from the same font family to create a unified style. This helps maintain visual consistency even as you add creative elements. Theme and mood. The choice of fonts should match the theme and mood of the project. For example, for a creative art project, you might use creative fonts for headlines and more traditional fonts for body text to maintain readability. Proportion and size. When combining fonts, it is important to consider size and proportion. Creative fonts can often be larger and more expressive, while regular fonts are better used in smaller sizes for body text. Mistakes to avoid. Inappropriate combinations. Combining fonts that are too similar in style or have similar characteristics can lead to a loss of visual interest. It is better to choose fonts with clear contrast. Ignoring readability. Creative fonts can be less readable, especially at a small size. It is important to test font combinations to make sure the text is easy to read. Excessive variety. Too many different fonts can create visual chaos. It is recommended to use no more than 2 or 3 different fonts in one project. Conclusion. The combination of conventional and creative fonts is a powerful tool in the hands of a designer, which allows you to create unique and attractive visual solutions. Knowing how to combine fonts correctly can greatly improve the quality of a design and make it more effective in communicating with the audience. Experimenting with different font combinations can lead to interesting and unexpected results, provided that the basic principles of typography are followed.